Okay, Andrew, how are you?
Nice. Good to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Okay, so Mike, nice and close?
Nice and close.
There we go. Okay, so Andrew Gillis, tell us a little bit about what you're doing at Aurora Hydrogen.
We are developing a low-cost, scalable, emission-free hydrogen production technology. The technical term is methane pyrolysis, where we take natural gas, we heat it up without burning it, and we split it apart into hydrogen gas and solid carbon product, which is how we get away from any sort of CO2 emissions associated with the production of hydrogen.
Okay, so you heat it up, but not to the point that it combusts.
We heat it up without oxygen. So in order to combust something, you need oxygen in the process. Pyrolysis is heating something in an inert or unoxygenated environment. So we split the molecule apart rather than any sort of combustion or burning.
Okay, and so the carbon that comes off is, might call it carbon black. Is it
actually
graphene?
We have a unique carbon product. Unlike most methane pyrolysis processes, which do produce a carbon black, we actually produce a large granular carbon product, which we believe has much larger and deeper use cases globally than carbon black, and we've done some test work in this area, could certainly be a precursor for a synthetic graphite for EV batteries, for example, or graphene for the various uses of graphene that are being anticipated. So we think we have a lot of flexibility with it, but also an opportunity to access much deeper markets. So for example, in steel making, perhaps as a construction aggregate, and ultimately we think it could be very well suited as a sequestration medium. So rather than going through the complexity and challenge of capturing gaseous CO2 and injecting it underground, now we've got a solid carbon particle that's easy to handle, easy to move around, easy to dispose of, that could be that sequestration medium in a very simple way.
Yeah, really interesting. So I think one of the challenges with something like a carbon black is it really is a waste product. There's not a lot to do with it. It's very small, fine grain, can get in the air, all kinds. You have to do something with it. But if you're actually creating a larger particle that potentially could turn into graphene, that's now potentially another revenue stream.
Yeah, and it's interesting. When I say low cost, and I think this is one of the unique attributes of Aurora's technology, we have a very, very low energy consumption in our process. So when I say low cost, I just mean in the hydrogen economics.
Yeah.
So not assuming that we're getting $1,000 a ton or $10,000 a ton for the carbon. Really, assuming we have no value for the carbon, we still think we can produce hydrogen at an economically competitive cost, and then the carbon, any sort of value we achieve for the carbon could just be icing on the cake.
Very cool. So what's the scale of a project that you'd work on?
So right now we're doing our technology development. So we're at an early stage. Our first increment of scale, we're going to be at 200 kilograms a day. So that could be enough to fuel, say, 10 buses continuously. But the novelty of our technology is combining a few different pieces of equipment that are common in industrial practice. So based on that, we believe the technology is inherently scalable to the largest industrial use cases. So we intend to be at 2 tons a day, 20 tons a day, and into the 100 tons a day eventually.
Oh wow, 100 tons a day is a lot.
Yes.
So one of the things I often wonder about is when you're not at a massive scale facility, like the Air Products or the Lindy's or some of those, to really use hydrogen, you've got to also compress it. So are you looking at what kind of technologies do you have on that side of it to go from having a bunch of hydrogen produced to having it compressed, so you're using it in industrial or transportation or others?
So 2 answers to that. I think the first one is that, again, looking at industrial analogs for the technology, we believe that the modeling we've done and the experiments we've done indicate that we'll be able to operate at pressure. So being able to take natural gas distribution or transmission pressure, bring it through our reactor, and then have pressurized hydrogen on the other side. So not to the pressure that would be required for, say, a vehicle, but we're at least doing that first lift of compression and then being able to use standardized compression equipment to get to the pressures required for these other applications.
Okay, and I'm asking that because I'm thinking ahead to the transportation sector. And we're seeing projects that are in the 350 psi to maybe 700 psi to get really long range. And wondering if a project like yours might actually end up being a bit of a microgrid across the country to go to places that are already on a natural gas line, but not way simpler than plumbing in ammonia or shipping things by truck, if you can just pull it out of the line.
That is precisely the model we're advancing here. So low cost and distributed production, and by distributed we mean hydrogen produced where required, at the scale required. So you're leveraging existing infrastructure. You're leveraging existing natural gas infrastructure, pipelines domestically, and not having to build out new hydrogen transportation pipelines or trucking routes or whatever. So we believe that this is a way that we can deliver hydrogen where it's needed, using existing infrastructure and bringing the cost way down, which right now, if we're talking even about centralized production and transportation, is cost prohibitive for many of the new applications people are envisioning.
Oh, absolutely. When it's in a country like Canada, where what are we, 28, 30 million people spread out over, the world's second largest country in terms of land mass, it's going to be really hard to get, net zero fuels to a big part of this country. But this technology could actually solve a lot of that challenge without creating kind of a massive new infrastructure network to do it.
Yeah, we fundamentally believe that our technology has the opportunity to economically enable many of these new use cases without, draconian policy intervention. And further, that's the story domestically, but we think internationally, from our point of view, the story is the same. International LNG supply lines exist between creation, terminals, shipping vessels, offloading, and then infrastructure in other countries. So when we hear, we're going to create new ships and terminals for ammonia transport or hydrogen transport, our position is, use the existing LNG infrastructure that exists and just make the hydrogen where you need it.
Wow. Okay, so where are you at in terms of commercialization? Are you at revenue? Do you have facilities up and running? Where are you at with that?
So right now we're developing our demonstration plant in Fort Saskatchewan. That's going extremely well. Trains blazing down the track. We've done site clearing. We've got long lead time items ordered. We're finalizing design right now. We expect to have that operational before the end of the year, and then a commercial product at that scale available next year for deployment as we, in parallel, work on scale up.
Okay, that's amazing. We've got companies here from around the world, investors here from around the world. We're having conversations with, again, international companies saying, who are some of the stars we should be looking at and investing in? Are you looking for capital? Are you looking for investors? Where are you at on that side?
Well, we've been very fortunate with the support we've received so far. So we raised a venture round last summer with participation from Shell, Chevron, Williams in the U.S., as well as another fund that includes Devon and One Oak. So we've got something like 80% of the natural gas handling in the U.S. as part of our investor group right now. And then we've also been extremely fortunate with funding from both the provincial government here in Alberta and the federal government via Alberta Innovates, SDTC, as well as another federal entity where we've been awarded funding that hasn't been publicly announced yet. So we think we're in very good shape for our technology development program, but where we are very interested in getting support and making more connections is people who want to be at the front of that curve when it comes to technology development. Technology adoption rather.
Okay.
People who either have a big problem to solve or really see the hydrogen vision and are willing to partner with a company that's deploying technology at this early stage.
Okay, sounds fantastic. We'll make some connections for you. There's some companies I think that you would be absolutely perfect for in terms of an investment. If there's other new companies around the world that are looking at where should they be showcasing their technology, any advice for them based on your experience here at the Canadian Hydrogen Convention? Should they be coming to this next year?
So I can tell this story from Aurora's point of view. We're a new company. We were a COVID company. All the founders started remotely. We could have set up in physical space anywhere, and we chose Edmonton. We chose specifically Fort Saskatchewan. It wasn't lost on us that there's some of the world's largest hydrogen producers and consumers here, as well as all of the expertise that comes along with having that existing industrial ecosystem that right now is being leveraged extremely well, both in the Edmonton region with the hydrogen hub, and then you've got the provincial support, the municipal support to really push hydrogen as part of the energy transition. So for us, it was really a no-brainer to set up our presence here and do our technology development here.
Okay, love it. Again, thanks so much. We're huge fans of the work you're doing. I think there's tremendous opportunity. When you eventually go public, your stock's going to go through the roof. So, I'm watching for that to see if you've got like an early offering. No pressure. But again, just really think you're you're probably one of the best examples, if not the best example, of the innovation that's coming out of Canada in this space. And it's not just this global scale production, it's the innovation as well that's needed to really help transition Canada and the world to net zero. So just thank you for your leadership in this space.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Those are extremely flattering comments, and hopefully we'll back them up.
Okay, awesome. Go do it.